As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny morning. I've just cycled up the glen, just come up from down there, about 45-minute cycle, and it's about as far as I can come on the bike, so I'm just locking it up and I'm going to head up to these mountains up here. So this is the slightly less well-travelled path up these two Munros up here. These two are part of a chain of three, and they're normally done as a three. I've done the first one a few years back and missed out on the next two because of the mist, so no real interest in doing the first one again, so I thought I'd find a slightly alternative route to get the next two. So it's a little bit less well travelled, quite a faint path. Probably won't see too many people today. Beautiful clear day and making good progress so far. So I've decided to ditch the path and just head straight on up the hillside up here. That's where we've come from. And the reason I've decided that is a few things. One, it's quite shady on this side of the hill. Sun's up and it's quite warm, and it's quite nice to just have a little bit of shade on the way up. Also, having looked at the map, I know that the ridge is quite gentle up here, so it's possibly a good spot to actually get on it and then hopefully pick off the Munros once I get there. And the final reason is that I've actually got a very slight puncture in one of the tyres on my bike, so that's going to mess with my timings a bit. If I have to cycle, if I have to push the bike all the way out the glen, it's going to take me a lot longer to get back to the car, so I might have to rethink how much I can realistically get done up here on my own. So I might just get the one done and then head back to the bike and see if it's cyclable at all. So yeah, that's my thinking. So it doesn't look too much further to the ridge up there, but looks can be deceptive. We'll see how we get on. So yeah, that's the path out the glen. As you can see, I've left my bike just down at that bridge down there. So if I do have to push it all the way back out, it's going to make the day quite a bit longer than if I could just pedal. I wouldn't even need to really pedal, it would just be freewheeling. So yeah, I'm not sure how the day is going to end, but nearly at the ridge now, so we'll crack on and we'll reassess in a few minutes. Go. Tell you what, man, these walking poles that my wife got me for my birthday, absolute godsend. If you're in your 40s like me and done a fair bit of hill walking and want to keep going, seriously recommend getting something like this. Going here would have been a lot tougher. Going up that grassy, steep hillside up there, I would still be about 1/3 of the way up if it wasn't for these, I reckon. Going is getting a lot easier now, so I can take it a little bit easier and should reach the ridge line soon enough. So as I said earlier, looks can be deceiving. This ridge is proving rather elusive. It's taken me a bit longer than I had thought it would to get there, but the first peak that I was talking about is up there. That's the one I've done in the past, and the one I'm aiming for today is just sort of in that little gap there, just in between the sort of patches of scree, and I think it's not far after you get to the ridge that you reach the summit. Obviously it's a little bit misty there, which is a little bit of a shame, but hopefully it won't be too much longer now. Well folks, I've finally made it up onto the ridge. That was a lot tougher than I thought it'd be, a lot tougher. Yeah, pretty heathery, no path to speak of, and pretty hard going. I'm pleased to say I can finally see my objective. It's up there just behind me, and now that it's in sight, it's starting to feel a bit more achievable. That's the first summit that I was telling you about on this group of three. I'm not doing. I think it might have actually been quicker just to do that one, just do all three than do what I've done. But I'm gonna crack on. I can see a couple of other folk on the horizon there, which is always encouraging. And I'm going to definitely reach that first summit, then I'm going to reassess and see how I feel about the bike situation, and have some breakfast and see what the weather's doing. But yeah, it's nice to finally get off that steep stuff and have a slightly more gentle incline towards the summit now. So catch up. Well folks, here it is at last, the summit, the middle summit of Beinn A'Ghlo. You can see the third summit off in the distance, Carn an Gower, and the first summit over there, Carn Lia. I've had a bite to eat, got my breath back, and I think I'm just going to head back down to Glen Tilt. That one over there looks a little bit too far and the weather is set to turn, and with a possible puncture on the bike I want to be able to get out the glen in good time. So I think I'll just head back down, and hopefully it'll be a bit easier going down than it was coming up, because that was a bit of a slog. Anyway, nice view as you can see, and worth the effort. And no doubt I'll come back another day and complete the hat trick. Well folks, that's me back at the bike now. That was much quicker coming down, much quicker. What a difference. Made pretty good time. It was just over an hour coming down maybe, versus about 3.5 going up. Kept coming across these like horizontal paths, which I was never quite sure whether to follow or not, because they seem to sort of go slightly down the hillside but then not, so I just kind of cut down pretty much straight, or as straight as I could. Tyre on the bike seems okay, so I'm going to risk it. I'm going to try and cycle out here, and maybe put this on the handlebars and try and get some footage, and maybe talk to you on the way out as well. Yeah, pretty done in. That was, like I said earlier, that was pretty heavy going. I don't know if I'm just out of practice, just not fit enough, but that was hard work today. But at least it was dry, and it's still dry, and I'm going to try and get out before the rains come. Catch you in a bit. So as you can see, I've decided to try and cycle. The tyre's not great, but it's okay. It's probably quite a shaky camera there for you. But I think it'll hold out. Probably just need to get a new one when I get back. But it's definitely going to save quite a lot of time cycling out, which I'm quite keen to do, having spent so much time on the hill this morning. Maybe just leave this running for a little bit, see if I get some decent shots. Well folks, that's me back at the car at last. I ended up having to come off the bike and push it for quite a lot of the way down. Rear back tyre just wasn't holding the air, so it was quite bumpy, and yeah, not the easiest. I hope I've not damaged the bike too much. So quite a tiring day that was quite a big one, but thankfully not too big of a drive home. So I'm just going to hit the road now and work through my footage when I get home, hope it's okay, and maybe post a little vid later on. So see you in the next one.